Your $2,000 flagship is essentially a glorified rental agreement, and you are losing the keys every 18 months. I'm pulling back the curtain on why these shimmering slabs of glass and titanium, sold to us as the absolute pinnacle of human engineering, are actually designed for a scheduled expiry. Look, this isn't just tech. It's a subscription model masquerading as a hardware purchase. You walk into the store, lured by the promise of surgical-grade steel and a camera system that claims to rival a Hollywood production kit. You tap your card, you sign the digital dotted line, and for a fleeting moment, you feel like you own a piece of the future. But the reality? It's far more brutal. These devices are constructed like a fortress with no doors. The battery is glued to the logic board. The OS is tethered to a server you simply do not control. And the moment you leave the shop, the hardware begins a slow, engineered decline. Think of it like a high-performance sports car that, after 2 years of driving, suddenly decides it will only go 40 miles an hour because the manufacturer wants you to notice the new model in the showroom. We've been conditioned to accept this, but let's call it what it really is: planned obsolescence wrapped in a polished marketing campaign. The strategy is brilliant. I mean, if you were a shareholder. They integrate deep-level software locks that make the latest AI features exclusive to the new chip, even when your existing processor is more than capable of handling the load. They throttle performance under the guise of battery health. Every update, every security patch is a subtle nudge. It's a whisper in your ear telling you that your current device is becoming archaic. You think you are an owner, right? You're not. You are merely a custodian. By the time you reach the 2-year mark, the software bloat has reached critical mass. The apps you rely on for your day.
When your machine starts to struggle 3 years down the line, it isn't because the hardware has naturally withered away. It's because you're being squeezed by a proprietary silicon bottleneck. I mean, think about it. These companies design their software to lean heavily on the neural engines of their latest chips. By the time the next generation hits the shelves, your current device is forced to run software it was never physically built to support. It's like trying to run a professional editing suite on a pocket calculator. That performance cliff, it's completely artificial. Those software updates start as minor inconveniences. Maybe it's a slightly longer boot time or a stutter in an animation. You ignore it. You assume it's a temporary bug. But it isn't a bug. It's a deliberate recalibration. They are pushing your hardware to its thermal and computational limits to manufacture a sense of inadequacy. You are living through the staged obsolescence of your own property. Even if the device could handle your daily tasks just fine, the ecosystem around it is engineered to make it feel ancient. It is a brilliant way to ensure that your relationship with technology is one of constant cyclical debt. You aren't buying a product anymore. You are simply leasing a temporary experience. And just when you've grown accustomed to the interface, just when that battery starts to show its age, the company drops a mandatory update that turns your once snappy device into a stuttering relic. But here is the crazy part. There is a much more sinister layer to this. It isn't just about...
It's reminiscent of the old proprietary fuel systems in the early days of motor transport, where a car could only run on fuel sold by the manufacturer. If you wanted to go further, you were bound to their stations. Today, if you want to remain compatible with your own industry, you are bound to their software updates, their cloud subscriptions, and their terms of service. You lose the ability to maintain your own tools, which is the cornerstone of professional independence. If you cannot fix it, you do not own it. And if you do not own it, you cannot control how it evolves or what it does with your data. But look, just when you start to feel the weight of this technological enclosure, there is an even more jarring reality hidden in the way these machines actually talk to their creators. This digital tethering isn't just a side effect, it's the primary objective. Every time your device pings a server to verify a license, or restricts you from replacing a battery because the serial number doesn't match a database in Cupertino or Mountain View, You're being reminded of your place in the food chain. You aren't a customer, you know? You're just a long-term renter of a platform that reserves the right to evict your functionality at any moment. Consider the architecture of a modern flagship handset. Internally, it's a brilliant piece of engineering, a feat of miniaturization that would have seemed like science fiction 3 decades ago. But warning, it is also a closed loop. The OS, the hardware, the cloud services, they're all locked in a proprietary embrace. Think of it like a luxury car that refuses to start unless you take it to an authorized dealer to change the air filter, and that dealer happens to be the only entity on Earth with the keys. If the manufacturer decides the car has reached its end of life, they don't just stop selling parts, they send a signal to the engine to stop firing. This is the post-flagship reality. We've been conditioned to view our tech through the lens of fashion. When the new model arrives with an incrementally faster chip or a slightly more polished chassis, the marketing machine kicks into gear to convince you that your current tool is suddenly obsolete.
So, the question is simple. Are you going to continue feeding the beast, or are you going to start choosing your tools based on the freedom they afford you? I want to know what you think. Have you ever tried to repair a device only to find the software fought you every step of the way? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this analysis useful, consider subscribing. Because here, we don't just look at the shiny surface of new releases. We look at what they are actually doing to our wallets and our independence.